Ooh, Bad Larry.
What's up, Bad Larry Kingdom? I'm your host, Bad Larry, and today's episode features The Amazing Spider-Man number 311, which is also part 10 in the Inferno series. Before we get started, please make sure to hit that like button as it shows support for the channel and subscribe to never miss an episode. On the cover, this issue was released in September of 1988 but dated January 1989. I don't know why they did that, but it's not really that important, I guess. The writer of this issue is David Michelinie, and probably most important is the artist is the legendary Todd McFarlane. To be honest, this cover is my favorite thus far in the Inferno series. It is cool, wacky, and creative. If you weren't aware, Todd would often hide spiders on the cover and let you know how many there are with a number next to his signature. If you look at his signature inside Mysterio's helmet, there is a little 4 with a circle around it indicating 4 hidden spiders. Can you find them all? Here's a clue. Look at Mysterio's hands. Another interesting tidbit is that this cover is one of 32 that appear in the comic collection from the video game in the year 2000 called Spider-Man. So that's cool. Other than that, we see in the upper right hand the Inferno Continues banner tying this issue to the series. This issue is titled Mysteries of the Dead, which is apropos. The action jumps off from the very start. Spider-Man is swinging into action at the New York Library where the 2 lion statues have come to life and are attacking the public. Notice, for future reference, is there any smoke around? No, but there is an energy field surrounding the lions. If you've been following the previous episodes of the Inferno series, you will know these lions are being possessed by demonic energies directly related to Naaster attempting to bring the limbo dimension to the earth dimension. Spider-Ware is unaware of all of this and later in the issue incorrectly attributes this phenomenon to something or someone else. How cool is Spider-Man? I mean, really, this is the Spider-Man I grew up with, the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, and it just brings me back. I like how the blue in Spider-Man's costume is mostly black, representing the shading, with the highlights being blue. We know Spider-Man is red and blue, but in this depiction, he looks red and black. Let me know who drew your favorite rendition of Spider-Man. It is this version for me. Spider-Man grabs the possessed beast by the tail and gives it a super heave-ho. The civilian provides no useful information to Spider-Man. One other quick observation regarding McFarlane's art. He draws people's ears with a very thick upper part and in general their heads with odd proportions. I feel he is excellent at drawing Spider-Man and the lion and the villain, but when it comes to actual human civilians, I feel he gets an average to below average grade. His human characters are comically proportioned. His human faces in particular are quite bad. Again, let me know your opinion in the comments. But keep an eye out regarding this point as we move further along in the issue. Spider-Man smashes the 2 lions together, causing them to crumble into pieces. But even in pieces, they possessed creatures are still moving. As Spider-Man climbs up a wall, he comments on being nauseous. Could this be from the effects of vertigo battling the X-Men from Part 7, Uncanny X-Men number 241? I couldn't find any direct evidence of this, but if you check out that episode, you will remember Vertigo launched her nausea-inducing vertigo attack against the X-Men on the streets of New York City, probably not far from where Spider-Man is right now in this issue. There's nothing saying why Spider-Man feels nauseous, and I doubt it is from seeing a bunch of rubble moving on its own. It's not like he was looking at guts or anything he hasn't seen before. I've also included the excerpt on the right from Exterminators number 3, episode number 4 in the Inferno series, where Rusty Collins fights these exact lions. It only took Rusty Collins 1 frame in a page to put a stop to these lions, whereas it took Spider-Man 4 whole pages to do the same job. Who did it better, Rusty Collins or Spider-Man? We also learned that in 311 issues, Spider-Man is still selling pictures and is still in school. Dang! For such a super smart guy, he is still doing the same old, same old. I guess people like the idea of Peter Parker needing money and getting that money from selling pictures, but at this point, I would think Peter would have come up with some other racket to make money. And geez, can this guy ever graduate? I get that people like seeing Peter Parker, the man, struggle with everyday normal issues like money woes, etc. But over 300 issues of the same problems, trying to sell pictures and doing homework, the writing is kind of thin here. Spider-Man had heard screams and located the scene of the crime. Notice all the smoke. It is a clue. This is the first appearance of the character Peanuts Mulrooney, a ginger rim-noggin, curly-mulleted 2-bit criminal holding up a young couple, Tommy and Bev, for their valuables. As Spider-Man thwips away the gun from Peanut here, he feels the wall shaking like an earthquake is happening. All of a sudden, the brick wall Spider-Man was clinging to has transformed into a giant brick wall man monster. Is this the effect of the demonic energies like with the lion statues, or something else? Notice the smoke. The smoke is the clue. Spider-Man is ducking and dodging the attacks while Tommy the civilian attacks the creature's foot. Tommy's an upstanding fella. Spider-Man saved him, so he's trying to help Spider-Man in return. There's a saying, no good deed goes unpunished. Tommy here is punished big time for trying to be your hero. Smushed like a bug. And right in front of his girl too. R.I.P. Tommy. And what effect will this have on Spider-Man? Saving these people from a robber just to watch Tommy get squished like a bug? Spider-Man's rage kicks in. He lifts up an entire car like it's nothing and destroys the brick wall monster with it. But that won't bring Tommy back, will it? When the cops come, Spider-Man is too distraught to even make a statement and heads home. The heat and the phones being down are the clear tie-in to the Inferno series, as this is what everyone in New York City is experiencing right now throughout all the comic books. I see Todd McFarlane also went to the school of drawing feet from Jim Lee, using the just don't draw them technique. So no MJ feet pics for you feet freaks out there. MJ tries to console Peter on not being able to save Tommy, but it's of little use. Peter takes the great power, great responsibility line very seriously. He can't be a hero and let people get killed like that under his watch. On the art critique, I will say McFarlane conveys the emotional journey very well, but artistically the faces, man, not good. Also, how does MJ's hair flip-flop sides like that? It's swooped to the left, and then when she's comforting Peter, it's swooped to the right. If you have a swoop in the front of your hair, heck, I have a swoop. It just doesn't flip-flop sides like that. Am I being too critical? It is a comic, by the way. I don't know. It seems like it would be an easy thing to pay attention to as an artist. Peter Parker is in his graduate course at Empire State University, barely able to focus as his mind is on Tommy, who he let die. Take a look at the background character, the male with the glasses just over Peter Parker's shoulder. How old is that student? Again, McFarlane with his poorly drawn human faces and humans in general. Not great. Peter runs into Doc Connors and look in Dr. Connors' lab coat pocket. It is full of notepads, pens, etc. How did he put those things in that right pocket? He has no right arm. Come on, man. He is not using his left arm to cross all the way over his body to put stuff in his right pocket. You try it. It's an unnatural movement and annoying. McFarlane wouldn't have thought of that. And where is Peter's right arm here? Anyway, art frustrations aside, the point of this run-in is to show Doc Connors is feeling the effects of the demonic energies from the Inferno event, as he is the villain, the Lizard. But nothing comes of this at all during this issue. Peter goes to the lab where we learn the professor, Dr. Evan Swan, didn't earn his high school diploma. Oh no, he bought it. Dun dun dun. But the school is letting him stay on. He just stripped him of his tenure and some privileges. Weak sauce writing. No one cares about Dr. Swan at all. This was an attempt to have Peter feel guilty or bad about something else, but show his mind is still on the death of Tommy. It's bad execution in my opinion. I wouldn't feel bad for Dr. Swan either, regardless. He scammed the system and is lucky he still is able to keep his job. If I was Peter, I would actually be annoyed, not feeling guilty. Dr. Swan over here is buying his way into roles when Peter is broke. He's trying to do the right thing. If I was Peter, I would say F Dr. Swan and demand a transfer. I'm not working under this fraud. When I read this the first time, this page made me actually laugh out loud. What the F is going on here? Peter is so depressed, he has to dress up like a cowboy and go to the rodeo bar? No, he is supporting Mary Jane by attending this cowboy-themed event where she is the lead model for La Derriere jeans. If you didn't know, La Derriere means the booty jeans. So hey, before Nelly and Flo Rida came out with apple-bottom jeans, Spider-Man Comics had La Derriere jeans. Very funny. The big fella in the Spuds hat is roughing up his manager, and Peter Parker, the man, not the superhero, steps in and puts a stop to the violence. MJ knows this is a teachable moment and takes Peter upstairs for today's lesson in parallel events. MJ tells Peter that he and Tommy are just the same. Even without powers, Peter would have stopped the old boy from beating up his manager, just like Tommy tried to stop the brick wall monster. He needs to stop feeling bad and realize it was just bad luck for Tommy. But Peter would have done the same thing in the circumstance, even without powers. MJ's little therapy session has worked on Peter. His mind is right again, and he swings back to the scene of the Tommy's murder to collect his camera. Interestingly, the wall that transformed in the monster is back to normal, fully intact. How can this be? Spider-Man remembers all the fog and smoke that was around during the incident. And if the wall is back to normal, then the whole thing must have been an illusion. He quickly deduces, fog plus illusion can only mean one thing, Mysterio. Spider-Man heads to a watering hole frequented by one of the suspects who can lead to the whereabouts of Mysterio. Spider-Man has put two and two together. He's a super nerd genius after all. Peanut here is flush with cash, throwing it around like a fool. Spider-Man knows how Peanut got all this cash and wants the location of Mysterio's location. Peanut quickly and wisely spills the beans. Spider-Man follows the lead directly to the warehouse soundstage base of Mysterio. We see the fog roll in, which is important, and I was unaware until this issue that Mysterio's fog turns off Spider-Man's spidey senses, and the fog insta-melts Spider-Man's webbing, evening the battlefield between Mysterio and Spider-Man. Of course, our hero still has his speed, strength, agility, and wall crawling, not just his webs or spidey senses. That's a cool nerf for Spider-Man, making Mysterio a much more interesting villain. Looking at how Mysterio is grandstanding, he looks like a rock star hamming it up for the audience. It is clear Mysterio set this entire chain of events in motion to have this battle with Spider-Man on his turf with his advantage. Mysterio didn't appreciate being defeated previously, so he set up this whole scheme to finally beat Spider-Man. The brick wall man monster, an illusion. Tommy was an illusion as well. His death meant to cause Spider-Man to lose confidence in himself. So Spider-Man's conscience can really be clear. Tommy never existed in the first place. But all this talking, the smoke surrounding Spider-Man, it's a trap. Peter notices his spidey senses are totally off. Not good. Spider-Man tries his patented web attack, but the smoke dissolves his webs as I stated previously. Spider-Man knows his strength and tries to tackle Mysterio, but he has vanished. The magician had to have gone somewhere, so Spider-Man blindly launches himself into the smoke, crashing through a door onto a soundstage. The sign reads, quote, Star Fight 4, the return of the sequel, clearly making a jab at Star Wars. Spider-Man sees a nasty monster alien and assumes it's an illusion as well. You know what they say about assume, makes an ass out of you and me. The monsters are real! It is actually a good story concept, mixing the INFERNO demonic activities with that of the illusions of Mysterio. It's hard to decipher what is real and what is an illusion for Spider-Man. In this case, the monsters are real, and without his spidey senses, he needs to get out of that space. If he can't swing up and out of there, his only other option is to bust through downward, which he does. The clever detective scientist Peter Parker knows all these illusions require power. Power in which Mysterio's special suit cannot generate on its own. Mysterio must be using the building's power to amplify his illusions. If Spider-Man can find the circuit breaker and shut it off, he can nullify Mysterio's illusions. Spider-Man has found the breaker. He quickly webs up his fist, protecting himself from being shocked, and destroys the circuit breaker, exposing Mysterio. We see Spider-Man has knocked out Mysterio, even cracking his super cool dome helmet, and the villain is handed over to the police, which is not shown. Peter Parker is contemplating the day's events, unsure if everything he encountered throughout the day was an illusion. Going back to the lion statues, he is still unawares that the Inferno scheme is also in effect causing paranormal activities and inanimate objects to become possessed and attack people. Like we see in the bottom right frame where an elevator in the Empire State Building has just eaten a civilian. We cut to the home of Harry Osborn in his home in Hicksville, Long Island. Harry just had a nightmare about the Green Goblin and checks in on his son, Normie. He believes his father, Norman Osborn, to be dead, which occurred in Amazing Spider-Man number 123. But we learn in Amazing Spider-Man number 410 that Norman is still alive and is the creepy hobgoblin figure looking in the window from the outside. I can't say I remember reading this particular issue when I was a kid. It doesn't spark any specific memories other than Spider-Man himself and the way he was drawn. Looking at the issue now as an adult, I can further appreciate how McFarlane drew Spider-Man with so much movement, action, and flexibility. The webs as well. Very interesting way McFarlane drew Spider-Man's web is a plus, as well as his art of any of the monsters or villains, including Mysterio and Green Goblin, and the lions and aliens are all great. But the greatness falls way down when it comes to drawing civilian humans, especially their faces and their hair. So I grade McFarlane's art as an A+ for Spider-Man, villains, and monsters, and a C- for human civilians. So there, I'm quite fair. The story also gets some high and low marks. It gets an A for incorporating Mysterio in the Inferno events, creating confusion for Spider-Man between the illusions and demonic activities, but a C for the pages Peter Parker was at school and at the cowboy bar. I would recommend this issue as a read, just for the fun of seeing Spider-Man in action. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. We're going to stick with Spider-Man for the next few episodes with part 11 of the Inferno series coming from Spectacular Spider-Man number 146. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.